Hello, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of Tier List Series. We're back here. It hasn't been too long since the last episode. Just trying to stay consistent with the series overall. And as you can see here today, something we haven't really done too much of. NHL teams tier list. Again, I'm trying not to do like kind of sports is a real classic thing. I'm trying not to overdo sports for the tier list series. I know we've already done quite a few episodes, but sports is something I'll always probably come back to. But I think this one could be pretty interesting. Um, I haven't tiered NHL teams. I know I did a couple of other teams, NBA teams, I think NFL teams. I know I did a couple of sports teams that I tiered, and stadiums and whatnot. But I know I definitely didn't tier NHL teams as a whole. So just pretty much going to be kind of ranking them going into the season here, and kind of based off of kind of what they've done past performance, maybe also location, maybe their kind of location and kind of city kind of also matters. I know we're not doing stadiums or whatnot, but kind of ranking them. That's kind of what I'm ranking them based off of. But yeah, I thought it could be pretty interesting. I haven't done too much NHL related content here in sports on the channel, so I think it could be pretty cool. So yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. So the Anaheim Ducks. So I like the Anaheim Ducks. It's also kind of based off of my personal preference, of course. But I like the Anaheim Ducks. But just an overall totality, they're a B tier team, I would say. Um, Decent team. The Arizona Coyotes, no longer a team. I think that's when they moved to Utah. Now they're the Utah Hockey Club. I think this is actually outdated. This is in fact outdated. Apologies for that. Um, because I know there's a couple new teams. You have the Utah Hockey Club that just joined as an expansion. Also the Seattle Kraken. So it's a little bit outdated. It's not all NHL teams because I knew some have expanded, but I'll come back to those teams. So I'll just come out and say what I'm going to rank those teams as a little bit later. But the Arizona Coyotes as a whole, rip to that team, but they go in B tier. Boston Bruins, fine team. Just put that in A tier. They're a good location and whatnot. The Buffalo Sabres, and there's a lot of Canadian teams as well. Of course, classic hockey country right there, Canada or Canada, excuse me, not Canada. I'm sorry, I was thinking Canadian on the mind, but Buffalo Sabres though, I know they're not in Canada, but just saying for the record, that's a B team, decent enough team, nothing too crazy. Calgary Flames, I'm sorry, Calgary Flames, a little bit of a tongue twister there. Also put in B tier. A lot of these are going to be pretty much common enough in B tier. Actually, no, I'll put them in A tier because you know what? The stadium they play in, Scotiabank Saddledome, is actually a fine stadium. It's quite the fun-shaped stadium. So just for that, I'll put it in A tier. Quite interesting. The Carolina Hurricanes, they made it pretty far in the playoffs this past year, so I'll put them in A tier as well. They did pretty decent this past year of you know playoff and whatnot. The Chicago Blackhawks, classic team. I'll put them in S tier. They just have a lot of history there. Definitely an S tier. A lot of good history there with the Blackhawks. I like them. Colorado Avalanche, of course, I'll put them in the B tier. Not, of course, I like the Flyers. They're my home team. Of course, Philly and whatnot. But this is kind of like also based off of um, kind of what I think. It's kind of like I said, all personal preference. But of course, I'll always like the Flyers. But just kind of for this specific time, I'll be ranking off of how I feel about the teams and whatnot. But yeah, the Columbus Blue Jackets, fine team, B tier. I think B tier is going to be the common ground here that we'll have, just for most of these teams. And then of course above A tier and S tier. Dallas Stars, of course, pretty common team, B tier. Good, pretty good enough run. Detroit Red Wings, classic. I'll put them in A tier. I like their team, and they got a good bit of history there. A lot of history there. The Edmonton Oilers, former Stanley Cup champion, and appeared in the Stanley Cup this year. The Oilers and the Panthers kind of went toe to toe. They're a decent team. I'll put them in S tier along with the Florida Panthers, the current Stanley Cup champion. Fine team right there. Good stuff. Now, before the Flyers, actually, a little bit of history here for myself. Before the Flyers, I actually liked the LA Kings. They were my favorite team, and I liked a lot of players there back in the day, so I'll put that in A tier just for a little bit of a special memoriam there. It's pretty cool. Minnesota Wild, pretty decent team. Put that in B tier, common ground tier. Montreal Canadiens, another good team. I'll put that in B tier as well. Nashville Predators, of course, good team as well. Like them, they're pretty decent. Put that in B tier as well. Another common ground thing. New Jersey Devils, yeah, medium-ish team. They got a good stadium and good records and whatnot in the past years. Put that in A tier. The New York Islanders, not really a fan of those. They'll be going to go in the C tier just because they're not as good of a team. Same thing with the Rangers. Both New York teams going in C tier. Just not some good teams overall. They're kind of iffy and whatnot. So that probably will be our only C tier if I'm being honest with you. So yeah, kind of continuing on here with the Ottawa Senators. Good team, good, decent enough team again. B tier team. The Flyers. They're a good team. I like them, of course. The hometown team for me. But their recent kind of struggles in the past couple seasons, I think, would unfortunately, just trying to be fair here instead of bias. Um, their recent kind of struggles would put them, I think, in the B tier. And that's kind of being generous, but I think they're kind of a common level team amongst others, pretty much B tier. Pittsburgh Penguins, pretty much rival to the Flyers. They're a different, slightly better team. Put them in the A tier. San Jose Sharks, I also like them. Enjoy their company in the league. I'll put them in the A tier as well. They're pretty decent. St. Louis Blues or Louis Blues, sorry, I should say that. Proper pronunciation. Put them in the B tier. Um, they're a pretty common level team. Tampa Bay Lightning, they're pretty decent. I'll put them in S tier because they have won a couple Stanley Cups in the recent years and made some good playoff runs, so I'll put them in there. Same thing with the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're pretty decent. Made some deep playoff runs in the past couple years. Vancouver Canucks, they're also, I think honestly they're going to be our. I know I said the Islanders, but they're going to be in the C tier as well. Not the best team. And I think same thing with the Jets. That's just I'm just gonna put that there now. But so the Islanders, Rangers, and Jets and the Canucks are gonna be in C tier just because they're overall not the best teams. Actually, no, I lied. I'm gonna put the Jets in the B tier because they're actually they did some good stuff. Made a run in the playoffs this past year. Vegas Golden Knights, good team. I'll put that in the A tier. Good in Vegas, good stadium, and they made some good playoff runs and good records in the past. Same thing with the Capitals, Washington Capitals, put them in the A tier as well. Made some good runs. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it for our tier list. Now I'm gonna add some teams. I know that it's not a visual representation of it. I know we have the recently added expansion, like I was saying, Utah Hockey Club and the um, Seattle Kraken. I'm gonna put the Kraken. If again, I know it's not visually here, but I would put the Kraken at the A tier. They've been pretty decent, and they got a good stadium, good record, and it's a good expansion team coming into the league. Same thing. I think I'm gonna put the Utah Hockey Club, the newest Utah team, in the B tier. Pretty common level team. Nothing too crazy, but they're a new team. They're a new team. They're expanding. It's the expansionish team. So yeah, I mean they're pretty decent. Um, yeah, I just wanted to include some of the. I know I didn't have all the teams on there. I know there were a couple of expansion teams, so I just wanted to include them just to kind of make it complete for the entirety of the NHL. So that's cool. I just figured I would do that. I know it's not on the list here, but more or less, this is our final list. Just take a gander at that, and yeah, do our final list things. But yeah, that'll pretty much wrap it up. Of course, on that note, for our tier list series, just trying to, like I was saying, trying to stay consistent. I know sports, it probably wasn't the most interesting list, but I figured it was pretty interesting to do NHL teams. I never did an NHL teams tier list. So I'll be definitely doing some other stuff outside of sports, but I would kind of easily come back to sports. It's a very easy topic to kind of cover. A lot of debates there, easy stuff you could do. So that's cool. But yeah, I thought it'd be pretty interesting though. NHL tier list. Never really did it before, at least for the teams and whatnot. And yeah, thought it'd be pretty interesting. So hopefully you guys found it at least a little bit interesting. Um, so yeah, but of course with that being said, that'll pretty much do it for today's episode. I doing some very good stuff. A lot of good stuff coming up for here on the channel. So be sure to stay tuned for that. The usual stuff. Make sure to subscribe for more content. Like all good stuff. Discord, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, link in the description, and of course, leave feedback on the video and whatnot, whatever you thought of the video. Of course, whatever you think of the what do you think of this list that I drafted up here, or what would you do different to the list if you could? Whatever it is, it may be feedback, all that good stuff, debates, whatever it is. Comment section is always open below, so be excited to see all that. But yeah, so that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.